Roger, copy.
Cool. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another MoonDAO Town Hall. So today we've got two big agenda items. One is we're going to be going over some of the results for Q4 retroactives, which is just wrapped up. And we're also on the last day of project submissions. We've already received 14 project submissions. And we're aware of a few others that are going to be submitting. So we know that everyone's busy right now writing their proposals. You guys have until the end of the day today to finalize those proposals. I guess a quick note is, you don't have to get it perfect right there at the submission. There's a week of feedback where the leadership within MoonDAO will be reviewing proposals and giving their thoughts and comments and feedback on the proposals so that they can be strengthened. So yeah, even if it's not perfect, don't hesitate to submit, and you can always refine it later after submission. So yeah, we'll be covering those two things, the Q4 awards, and then giving a bit more details maybe for people that are considering submitting their projects this quarter. So Ryan, I'll pass it over to you.
Cool. Thank you, Pablo. GM, everyone. Should be a relatively quick town hall today, but the voting just wrapped up here for the Q4 retroactive awards. Thank you, everyone, for weighing in on that, casting your votes in terms of, how much you feel should be rewarded to each project based on the impact that they had and the deliverables that they made during their project terms. Like I said, voting just wrapped up. We're just kind of crunching the numbers here. I will share just kind of some broader strokes about the results, and then we'll be sharing the detailed spreadsheet here within the next 24 hours or so everyone can see all the details. But yeah, our Art Rocket project was the top project for the Q4 cycle with about 24% of the total vote, which is super cool, followed by the overview effect comparison project and LORS, which is the Lunar Open Source Rover Standards, both of which had about 18%. So congrats to those three projects as our top overall projects for the quarter. The top contributors in terms of overall project rewards, that will be Vartan, who was #1 overall as part of the Art Rocket project, and Alex with the ASRI Space Mice project, and then Frank White in third place there with the overview effect comparison project. So big shout out, great work from from all the projects, the teams, but those three in particular were recognized by the MoonDAO community for their outstanding contributions with these projects and through this cycle. And yeah, just as a reminder, we have 14.15 ETH that we're distributing this quarter in total to everyone, which also includes the community circle. I'll get to that in a second. But yeah, 14.1 ETH and 8.1 million Mooney that we'll be distributing, which will be locked for 4 years and increases the voting power for all the contributors to these projects. And yeah, the community circle, this is for all the independent contributions that members of the community did. This can be either directly tied to MoonDAO or kind of independent work that just supports the MoonDAO mission of increasing access to space, and other work that our citizens, the citizens of the Space Acceleration Network, are doing. And yeah, I shared this in the executive branch channel yesterday, the full details of the community circle breakdown, but big shout out to Trent Moonshot, who was our top recipient there in the community circle for his work, and Lucia in Brazil, who was our second, and of course, Dr. Iman Jahangir was our third overall community circle contributor. But yeah, I think we had a dozen or so community circle contributions. This is an ongoing thing. Anytime you've done cool work, this week that's helping MoonDAO or helping the MoonDAO mission, you can use the submission portal on the MoonDAO dashboard to submit your work, and that'll be considered in the next cycle. So obviously we're in the Q1 cycle now, so anything that you've done here in the new year or anything that you do here in January March or January, February, March, you can submit for this set aside for the community circle and get rewarded in terms of ETH and increased voting power in the MoonDAO community, which will give you a bigger say for all these things, which projects we approve, how those rewards are distributed, how we're governed. That's all decided by and for the community. So yeah, that's kind of the broad strokes, and just want to, take another quick look at the results before we share the full details here publicly in terms of the exact amounts going to each project and each person. But yeah, big congrats, Art Rocket, Overview Effect Comparison Project, Lores, and of course our project contributors and community circle contributors. And yeah, like I said, we'll publish that here about probably tomorrow before the end of the week here. And I anticipate that we'll be able to get these funds out to everyone within about a week once we queue up the transactions and get the multi-signature, get all the multi-sig signings. So it'll be coming your guys' way here pretty soon.
Awesome. Yeah. Big congrats to everyone who's receiving rewards this quarter. Very well deserved. Heard some people there that have done some awesome work over the last quarter. So cool stuff. All right. Should we hop right into the updates around Q1 project submissions?
Yes.
Yeah, we've got a little presentation with some of the details here.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ryan.
No, just was going to say, yeah, today's the big date. We're moving into this new seasonal governance cycle, and it's been amazing to see just the the number of submissions and cool ideas that are kind of coming through, both in ideation or as formal project submissions. 14 submissions so far is pretty cool to see. Deadline, again, as Pablo mentioned, I believe, is the end of the day today, so midnight Pacific time. So just be sure to have it submitted, basically complete, but subject to revision and changes here over the next couple days before we go into the presentations next week. So today's the deadline. We're workshopping some of these ideas, getting some direct feedback from senators or other members of the community, and finalizing these proposals before these people submitting the proposals will present them to the MoonDAO community next Thursday, same time, same place as our weekly town hall, and then they go up for a vote. And so it kind of depends on which projects are chosen by the MoonDAO community in terms of how many are actually funded, up to our funding deadline, basically, our funding limit. So it depends on, what the MoonDAO community is kind of leaning into. But link is here, moondao.com/propose. Go ahead, Pablo.
Yeah, and we've mentioned this before, but it's worth reiterating. It's the maximum budget is 2 ETH. However, we have a total budget amount for the entire quarter, and if we hit that maximum number, then that's the limit, right? We're not going to be funding any more projects. So it's really important that people really assess how much upfront funding their project needs in order to get off of the ground. And that would increase your chances of getting retroactive rewards. So the lower you put in for upfront funding, the higher percentage chance you have of your proposal being included in the round. So just want to make that very clear to people, because we want to be able to fund many projects, but there's a fixed budget for the quarter. So just keep that in mind when you're putting together your proposal.
I guess the TLDR is don't try to max out the 2.08 ETH budget. Like maybe some people are trying to see, okay, I'm gonna fill it up with as much as I can to reach this limit, but no, what do you really need to have a minimum viable project to get it off the ground and get going for this quarter? because while it is a quarterly cycle, that doesn't mean you can't come back to the MoonDAO community in Q2 with a follow-up that builds on the work that you're doing in Q1. So it's better to just kind of break it down into what you can do on a quarterly basis, perhaps get approved by the community, and then come back to the community for continued work potentially after you've demonstrated more impact and results, and the community can reevaluate.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of proposals so far have been going for higher budgets or maxed out budgets, but yeah, definitely reconsider, because it'll only increase your chances if you can find ways to save on costs for your project.
Totally. So yeah, I don't know. We had 14 submissions come through in total just before the town hall went live. A few more that will be probably coming through here this evening, I'm sure. We do have kind of a little slideshow or presentation that might give you guys an idea of some of what's come through, just because there's been a whole flurry of activity. So let me pull that up here too. Yeah, there is a LORS Phase 2 project. So kind of like I was just alluding to earlier, you can ask for quarterly funding and potentially submit for a follow-up quarter, which is, LORS was one of the projects from Q4, and they're submitting a follow-up proposal here for Q1. We have one that's about like a space biotech journal. We have the Maldives space research kind of collaboration and stratospheric balloons. There's one to build a mini app around the lunar pyramid, which is this bounty that MoonDAO placed on the surface of the moon with some of our partners. That's sitting up there right now with a private key and some funds on it. There's the Zero G Spot podcast media kind of proposal. Moonshot celebration to send people's dreams to the moon. Lunark workshop in Bolivia. Lunark is one of the teams in the Space Acceleration Network. This is another sort of continuation proposal too, from the growth project from last quarter for a Leica AI agent onboarding bot. And we have also a kind of a Wave IRL passport NFC tap card for IRL events. Sponsorship for the ETH conference in Washington, D.C. World's biggest analog retroactive kind of educational outreach based on the WBA project that we did, or that we worked on last October. And yeah, that's just kind of a glimpse about the 11 projects that were submitted here this morning. So, if you're interested in working on any of these projects, you might want to reach out to the project contributors or the project leads in this case. This all happens in Discord and in the City Hall channel, either in ideation or in the proposal channel. You can read, obviously, all the details about each one of these projects there, and also just kind of give an idea of the wide variety of projects that we're seeing submitted. That might help you, come up with your own ideas about cool or interesting projects and the type of things that we're seeing here in the MoonDAO community for Q1.
Totally. Yeah, lots of cool projects there. Yeah, I guess just a note on timing. So after proposals are submitted, or the final deadline today, we're going to convene the MoonDAO leadership. Then on Monday, we're going to be reviewing all of the proposals. So we'll have a lot of reading to do over the weekend and a lot of thinking to do in figuring out, how we can strengthen each of the proposals. And yeah, and then afterwards, there's a few days of essentially editing the proposal based off that feedback, or trying to improve your chances of being included in that round. And then there will be a leadership vote. And then after that leadership vote, the proposals that have passed that vote will then present to the community at the next town hall. And then after presenting, then the community will ultimately vote on which projects get funded. So it'll be a busy week, lots going on, but yeah, it should be very exciting. So yeah, if your project passes that round, then you'll have a presentation next week in front of the community, and that'll be 5 to 10 minutes. It'll be a short presentation to the community to essentially pitch it, and then the community will vote.
Yeah. And while the onus or the burden for really like detailed reviews of these projects falls onto the members of the Senate, obviously I've reached out to all our senators here individually to, about next steps there, but it's still an open call for, any member of the community to provide feedback on these projects. Like it's not an exclusive thing for senators. Anyone who is a citizen or community member who has thoughts on some of these proposals can chime in, whether that means just, providing a somewhat critical eye about how it can be approved or how it can be improved or how you could help make the project better. Those are all kind of welcome contributions. And that's how MoonDAO has operated for quite some time now, just tying together different contributors across the world who are working towards a common mission or a common goal around a project. And some of these projects, as submitted right now, are kind of like solo endeavors, and they probably welcome help from other members of the community for sure. And some of them are regional based too, so maybe you have ties to some of those places or communities and could help. Really, it's just kind of a call to get more people, looking at these proposals, seeing what they like or don't like, how they can help, and ultimately it'll be up to those same people, the MoonDAO community, to decide what gets funded and what moves forward in Q.
Right. And that discussion all happens within the Discord. So you can go to moondao.com/discord, and that will take you to our Discord server. And then if you go to the governance section, so there's a bunch of channels on the left-hand side, go to governance. For every proposal that's submitted, a thread is created, and that's a dedicated thread to discuss that proposal. So jump into that thread and leave your thoughts. In many cases, the author of that proposal might be willing to add you to their team if you have something you'd like to contribute or some way that you could help and strengthen that proposal. So if you're looking to get involved in MoonDAO or get involved in a project, it's a great way to do so.
Totally. Yeah. So deadline coming up relatively quickly here for any last minute submissions. Obviously we'll be on hand if there's any technical issues, but we've had a lot of submissions and people are submitting here successfully from all over. So it seems like everything's moving pretty smoothly, but we'll be on hand if there's any questions or concerns before the deadline for anyone still considering submitting. So yeah, looking forward to seeing what else might come through. It's going to be a fairly big round. And yeah, as Pablo mentioned, we'll have the presentations by the Senate approved projects next Thursday. I'm envisioning probably 5 to 10 minute presentations per project, just because we'll have quite a lot of projects to go through and a limited amount of time. So we'll have to be time conscious during our presentations next week for anyone submitting and moving forward.
Right. Yeah, and if people have any questions or want support as they're putting together their project, you can reach either Ryan or myself via Discord. You can submit a ticket on the Discord. And yeah, there are a lot of people that are pretty knowledgeable within the MoonDAO community that are willing to help, not just Ryan and myself. So just post a question there, and it's likely that someone will pick it up and help you out.
Cool. Well, I think we covered most of the Q1 stuff. Anything else we're missing?
I don't think so. Not with Q1. Yeah, I guess final note is that You know, this represents a pretty big change in terms of how we run our project system, and you know, we're refining this approach over the quarter. So yeah, seems like things are going pretty smoothly so far, but yeah, we're definitely adding a lot of cool new features and UI around this project system, which we'll be rolling out in the next couple of weeks. And I'm very excited about it. I think it'll be really cool. But always, you know, bear with us if there are any UI bugs or anything like that with any new thing that we're rolling out. We're testing it a bunch ahead of time, but you know, we're always iterating on the stuff that we're doing here. So yeah.
Totally. Yeah, it might also require, you know, tinkering with thresholds and whatnot in the future as we see how this all plays out after our first seasonal governance. But I'm excited to welcome in our first, you know, cohort that's all coming in together. It's kind of like a little mini YC or something decided by the community that we're rolling out here. So yeah, really exciting. But I guess just to change gears somewhat, there are a couple like events coming up here in the near future that I thought we might mention. I thought Kara was going to be here, but I will mention that the Funding Space event is scheduled for the end of this month here on January 28th. It'll be featuring Pablo, obviously talking about the issue of funding space missions, space projects, and the capital required to do so, but also with it's a 2-hour event. It'll be featuring some other incredible guest speakers like Philippe from Space Computer and Alexandra and Ruben from Wise3 Ventures, and a keynote by our very own Frank White. So it'll be a pretty cool event. The link was shared here in Discord. You can RSVP on LinkedIn. It's also on our MoonDAO events calendar, either on the Luma or moondao.com/events. But yeah, please do RSVP there, put it on your calendar, and be sure to invite any of your space contacts, space friends that are interested in kind of this idea or the problems and challenges and solutions to funding capital-intensive space missions. So it should be a cool talk. Looking forward to it. Pablo, I know there's also an event on our calendar in San Francisco coming up later this month too. I don't know if you can maybe share a little bit about that for anyone who might happen to be based in the Bay Area. You're muted.
Muted there. Yeah, so we're doing an event, a similar event in San Francisco in person about funding for space. And we're going to be doing it in partnership with a group called Small Steps and Giant Leaps here in San Francisco. So yeah, really excited about that, and we'll be sharing more details soon. It's likely that the event will be sometime in February. I just spoke to Alder yesterday. They had another event, which was very cool, about a YC company that's working on a hotel on the moon, which is very interesting. So yeah, it's a cool community with Small Steps and Giant Leaps, led by Alder Riley. And yeah, we'll be putting something together with them to talk about how people can fund their work via MoonDAO, via the Launchpad, and also discussing other sort of ways that that financing is available outside of MoonDAO too. So it should be pretty cool. Yeah.
Cool. The first IRL MoonDAO event of 2026, which is super cool to see kick off here in January, February, whenever it might be, finally settled on. Yeah, it was, we had 7 last year, 7 in-person events. We forgot one big one too, which was IAC Sydney. We had a couple representatives at IAC Sydney in our look back on the MoonDAO 2025 wrapped. So yeah, 7 events in person last year, and we'll see what we do here in 2026. But that should probably be the first in-person event in San Francisco. And obviously there's some proposals here in this cycle coming up that have in-person components, and we're still talking about potentially doing something at East Denver coming up at the end of February and having a MoonDAO presence on the ground there too. So yeah, a couple things to potentially look forward to here in Q1, both in-person and virtual events. But I just wanted to put that on everybody's radars here, and yeah, RSVP on our luma.com/MoonDAO calendar.
Yeah, we'll have to beat the record. We'll have to hit 8 events.
Yeah, at least, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I think that's basically all we had on the agenda for the day today. I don't know if there's any other loose ends, but we promised a relatively quick and punctual town hall this week before we get into a longer one next week.
Yeah, we'll have a lot of homework over the weekend. So yeah, I think we might see something north of at least 15 proposals. I know there's a few others that are drafting theirs now. We might hit 20. We'll see if we have more, but definitely going to be a lot of reading. So, but it's all good. It's a good problem to have. There's a lot of activity. A lot of people with interesting projects that they want to get funded, and yeah, it's really cool. So, yeah,
exciting. It'll be intense another week or two before we kick off other big initiatives too. But yeah, exciting to see all this coming through, and obviously, become a citizen if you're not a citizen yet in the network. I mean, that goes a long way. Become a citizen, get active in the Discord. We used to say in my other line of work, like the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Like the people you see that are here and being involved and making things happen tend to help, tend to get more kind of support because you see them, they're present, they're showing up. But yeah, it's not too late to get involved. Joining the network, utilizing the network, like all the funds that come into MoonDAO, this kind of grows the pot of how much we can emit in future quarters. So just so people make that kind of mental connection, like the larger the inflows into the MoonDAO's treasury, or the more MoonDAO's treasury grows, either through, we have a few different ways that revenue comes into the DAO now, but those funds all go into this pot, which is then emitted on a percentage basis into these quarterly cycles that support projects. So it's not going into a black hole. It comes back out to the community to support projects that are accelerating our space mission and helping humanity get to the moon and to the stars. So yeah, just want to make sure everyone's aware of that. But join, become a citizen. Love to have you be an official part of MoonDAO.
Yeah, and I mean, just to add one more thing is that people ask us a lot, like, why a DAO? Why are you doing it like a DAO? It seems maybe very complicated or intimidating for people or something like that. But one of the major benefits of doing things in this way is that the funds are very transparent, and so you can see funds going into the treasury and then emitted out into projects. You can all of this stuff is publicly available, and that's I think a very unique and extremely transparent way to operate an institution like this. So yeah, it's kind of like the don't trust, verify model. It's taking open source all the way down to literally our bank account essentially. So all of our stuff is out there in the open, which I think creates a large level of trust, and has been what's allowed us to operate successfully for so long, and generate the community that we have. So yeah, it's cool that these tools allow for us to do this over the internet and to coordinate tons and tons of people in order to do these cool things. So yeah, very grateful for all of the Ethereum ecosystem for making this possible.
Well said. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much the only real viable way to collaborate amongst so many people. We're in more than 30 countries around the world. Like, how do you coordinate all these people across different borders, ecosystems, monetary systems, et cetera? We build a truly the internet space program, right? How do we build this and bring it out into the real world and have real world impact. I mean, we've demonstrated it multiple times, multiple projects already. And I think we can just continue to iterate on this and this new seasonal governance cycle and this new season 1 cohort. I'm really looking forward to seeing that roll out and how they can also, the rest of the MoonDAO community can get behind these approved projects and find synergy amongst those projects too to push forward. So, yeah.
Totally. Yeah, it's exciting.
Cool.
All right. Well, I think we've hit everything that we need to hit. Nice and short 30-minute town hall. But yeah, I expect the next one to be a little bit longer, depending on how many projects we're going to be going through. So it'll be exciting. But yeah, it's the quiet before the storm, I suppose.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, Pablo. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in today. Yeah, get those proposals in, and we'll see you next week, same time, same place, as we consider the project proposals for Q1.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
Welcome to MoonDAO, a revolutionary governance model and mission-oriented community that's reshaping collaboration in the space industry. Our mission is to create a self-sustaining, self-governing settlement on the moon to act as a launch point into the cosmos. MoonDAO is governed like a nation, with its own economy, constitution, voting system, treasury, elections, and senate, but internet native, and so without the limitations of geography. In 2022, we sent our first member to space, showcasing our model's capacity for real-world impact. Now, we're implementing key solutions for global collaboration in the space industry. We offer a borderless, permissionless platform that enables everyday people to participate in the future of space development and exploration. Be part of our lunar legacy and join the MoonDAO movement today.